The night air was thick with the scent of earth and rain as Rahab, the woman known to the people of Jericho as a prostitute, paced nervously inside her small, dimly lit room. The city was buzzing with rumors, whispers of the Israelites, the enemy approaching the walls of Jericho. The walls, so sturdy and tall, had been a symbol of protection for the city of Jericho for generations. No one had ever dared to challenge them. But these Israelites, with their strange God and a history of impossible victories, were coming. Rahab could feel the change in the air. The weight of something monumental was about to happen, but what? She had always been a survivor, but for the first time in her life, she wondered if survival was enough. She had heard stories. The Israelites had crossed the Red Sea, a miracle that no one could explain. They had marched through the wilderness, surviving plagues and battles, and now, they were on the brink of reaching Jericho. Rahab didn't believe in their God, but something deep inside her stirred at the thought of this foreign power. Her life had never been her own. From a young age, Rahab had been forced into a life she never chose. She had learned early that beauty, not kindness, would get her what she needed. But there were days when she wondered, was this it? Was this all life had to offer? The guilt, the shame, the endless cycle of men who came and went, none of it filled the empty void in her heart. That evening, two men knocked on her door. Their eyes were different, intense, as though they carried the weight of a divine purpose. She could tell by the way they walked, the way they carried themselves, they weren't like the men who usually visited her. These two were more than just men. They were on a mission, and the fear in their eyes made her heart race. The two strangers had heard of the Israelites' arrival and had come to Jericho to spy on the city. Rahab knew the risks. If the king's men found them, they would be killed immediately. But there was something in her gut, a sense of destiny, that made her take a daring risk. With a quick glance over her shoulder, she made the decision. "Hide here," Rahab whispered, pointing to the hidden corner of her roof where she had stashed bundles of flax. "I will protect you, but you must trust me." The men exchanged glances, then nodded, silently understanding the gravity of the situation. Rahab's heart pounded as she covered them, praying the guards wouldn't come searching. Just moments later, there was a knock on her door, louder this time, more urgent. "Rahab! Open up," came the call. It was the king's soldiers. A wave of fear swept over her. What if they found the men? What if they knew? With a steadying breath, Rahab opened the door. The soldiers barged in, eyes scanning every inch of her modest home. "Have you seen two Israelite men? They entered your house earlier," one soldier demanded. Rahab's mind raced, but her voice remained steady. "They were here. But they left. They fled into the city gates just before the guards closed them for the night. If you hurry, you can catch them." The soldiers didn't hesitate. They left, chasing after the two men, not knowing that they had been hidden under Rahab's roof the entire time. Once the soldiers were gone, Rahab hurriedly went up to the roof and spoke to the men she had hidden. Her heart was racing, but she was resolute. "I have one condition," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "When you come to take Jericho, spare me and my family. Spare us. I have shown you mercy, show me the same when you conquer this city." The two men looked at each other, then nodded. "We promise," one of them said. "But tie this scarlet cord in your window so we know where you are when we return. As long as we see the cord, your family will be spared." Rahab did as they said, tying the cord in the window, watching as they disappeared into the night. The next few days were a blur. Rahab watched as the Israelites surrounded Jericho, and the tension in the city grew unbearable. On the seventh day, the sound of trumpets shattered the silence. The city shook as the Israelites marched around the walls, their chants echoing like a thunderstorm. Rahab's heart raced. The ground trembled beneath her feet. Would they keep their word? Would they save her and her family? As the walls of Jericho fell, Rahab's mind flashed back to the promise the spies had made. She rushed to the window and saw the scarlet cord tied tightly, shining in the sunlight. They had kept their word. When the dust settled and the city lay in ruins, the two men returned. True to their promise, they gathered Rahab and her family and led them to safety, away from the destruction. Rahab, once a woman defined by her past, was now a woman redeemed, a woman whose faith and courage saved her life and the lives of her loved ones. No matter your past, no matter how far you've fallen, God can redeem you. Like Rahab, one act of faith can change everything. Trust Him, even when the odds are against you, and you'll find grace and redemption beyond what you ever thought possible.